Hello everybody and welcome back to the SOOP Duel series. Today we are especially blessed because we've got not only Bisu versus HerO but also a Shun Cocast. Welcome Shun to the SDS. Thank you so much for being the little prize at the end of the Gems goal, encouraging our friends and fans to actually contribute to this series. Thank you so much.
It's great to be back, Sam. Real pleasure to be here to bring you guys some great games. We've got HerO versus Bisu today. It's going to be super exciting. Bisu spawning over here at the 3 o'clock location with HerO in the bottom left on Dominator for game number 1.
Yeah, we've got this Dominator series. Dominator in the map pool. We've got Minstrel. We've got Monty Hall. So that's a bit of an older series. Definitely from 2024. I'll put the link in the YouTube description to when exactly the games were played, or at least when they were casted first in Korea. But again, as usual, guys, it's not as important. These types of games, these types of series, these online events are not as important to try to suss out exactly how closely these two players are matching. It's just more for fun, guys, because the offline performance really doesn't give a good bearing for or the online performance doesn't really give a great bearing for how things are going to go offline. It's just the way that it is. Players are going to be hiding builds. They're not going to be playing at their absolute best. Yeah, it's just for fun, guys, so don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, one thing I do like about it is that people are much less likely to choke or something, right? Because there's not quite as much pressure on them. So you do tend to get quite consistently good games.
That's true. Yeah, there is a X factor in the ASL, for instance, where players like Tyson, even Bisu, will make big mistakes, right? We saw some huge errors from some of our players this season. So, like, you can't, I know a lot of people like to think like, oh, I'm gonna, use this to infer future results. Oh gosh, some lings slipping by into the main base already. HerO taking the moment as the probe left the wall to build a forge to actually just slip one ling into the main. That's gonna be super annoying.
Yeah, he has got ZL chasing it, but I mean, even just any kind of harassment right now can be a little bit annoying for Bisu to deal with. He's also has to worry about potentially additional lings making their way in as well. HerO potentially could throw down a Hydra Den if he wants to. It doesn't seem like he wants to do any kind of Hydra bust play. It's just like it's just a normal 3-base Spire, just a little bit of the early game harass.
Yeah, getting in here with the ling, forcing one Zealot to chase. Actually removes a lot of the pressure, and oh my gosh, he didn't start a cannon here yet. Putting on the pressure now, going in. Yeah, going into the main with these Zealots and one probe. Does HerO have everything pumping out back at home to stop this? I think he will, and he can get some damage in that main base as well.
I mean, HerO is making the prerequisite lings to deal with this, even microing back his weakened ones pretty effectively. Both of these Zealots not long for this world. Bisu knows it. He's trying to get them back behind the minerals at the 3rd base location. Does manage to get Grace around on one of them, though.
Really great control here from HerO while he's maneuvering lings in the main and trying to get a little bit more damage. Have those been cleaned up, though? We didn't get a shot here for a minute. Looks like everything's been dealt with. So splitting the attention between the opponent's base and his own. HerO ends up losing those lings. Still, he's managed to kill a lot of Zealots, and he's stabilized back at home. Plus, he's slowed down the economy a little bit of Bisu's economy. I feel HerO's position right now. It seems quite good.
Oh, it definitely does seem quite good to me as well. He is going to have this probe scout try and sneak back in, but HerO's actually going to snag this before it can get any more scouting information. So Bisu is in a little bit of trouble right now. Not only is he a little bit behind the curve of the game, but has no information to work with.
We will have that Corsair out here shortly. Get over there and figure out exactly what HerO is up to. It's a normal game out of HerO so far, just with a few little back and forth plays in that early game with those early lings. Second cannon on the way. That'll allow him to start moving out with these zealots again, because these speedlings are threatening counterattack. You really do need that second cannon before making any sort of move. HerO moving around with these lings way around the top side there. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Maybe a hidden zealot. Not able to find anything though. And he will have a pair of Scourge on the way already in time for this Corsair. Everything lining up very nicely for HerO.
Yeah, he's got everything mapped out perfectly. Even going to tuck these overlords into the corner, so there's no possibility of a Corsair being able to kill one of those, at least not without dying, with those Scourge popping out soon. He's sending out another Corsair towards like the 12 o'clock location a little bit. For a second there is Bisu. Looks like he's checking for some hidden units, but now he's going to be running them back to safety. He knows that he's going to be getting those sniped if he's not careful. And HerO can also use these Scourge to scout.
Scourge scouting out everything. Checking that main base now. Can he get this Corsair? Nope, Corsair is going to dip. Backing away just in time. Lings chasing out on the map. Gonna look for an engagement with these zealots. Do they have that +1 just yet? Might be able to get on top of them right before that. Nope. Yeah. No +1 here. +1 not quite done. This is a great trade opportunity for HerO. He's gonna lose a lot of these lings, but you know what? Killing off the zealots definitely worth it.
Oh yeah, you want to trade off these lings right now while you still can. The longer this game goes on and that +1 becomes finished, they will not trade nearly as efficiently. So this is great for HerO, getting full value out of these right before that +1 kicks in. Pretty beautiful play from him, it has to be said. And a quick transition into that 6th hatchery, ready to go mass hydras, but also took a second gas. So kind of keeping his options open in case he wants to make a few mutalisks here as well.
Gonna start pumping out mass Hydra here on 6 hatchery. Bisu still making Corsairs for the time being. May want to come out with a tactical force of zealots to force back the Hydras and deal a lot of damage to the Overlords as he does. He's so good at this type of play, and he's going to rely on it here from a slightly difficult position and a bit of a rough spot. Will he be able to make some damage happen? HerO already on top of this high ground. I'm going to target down zealots immediately as soon as they get up here to this pizza slice, pushing back these Corsairs. That means that there's some unprotected overlords somewhere, and Bisu's going to go looking for them. Right. Can he find any? 4 Hydras defending over in the natural. That's not quite enough to completely stop these Corsairs from doing any damage, but it's going to be enough to persuade Bisu to turn the other direction. He's not managed to kill any overlords so far. Another Corsair arrives. He may dive in though with this DT making its way to the front.
Yeah, Bisu loves to go for that DT play, and with only like 4 or 5 Hydras to defend, you can sometimes still get in there, although there is just barely enough DPS to make you a little bit more hesitant. The DT is going to just get free damage, Sion. There's nothing to stop them right now. He's got more drones hatching out. He doesn't notice. He's been distracted in at the Bisu's front. This Corsair's in the main base. He finally does notice now, but look at how many kills this DT's got. That's 7 kills for free, and he's getting away.
Just like that, Bisu turns the game on its head. It was starting to accumulate a bit of a lead, HerO was, and now Bisu killing off, what, 8 drones has completely flipped the script. Just a small misstep there from HerO, having his overlord slightly too far to the right. Didn't notice the DT getting in there, and now his entire mineral line is gone. He has pumped his way back up to 50 drones. He should be moving to take a 4th base here shortly, but the momentum has really been seized by Bisu. He's got huge amounts of momentum behind him now, and his 2-base push is going to be really hard to stop if HerO struggles to get this 4th online. Yeah, he's going to take this one over here, Shun. This is so much easier to push.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this game pans out. Although, to be fair to HerO, he's been able to pump out a lot of drones. 53 drones to 52 probes. That's an insane worker saturation from HerO. If he can somehow get this 4th base online, get that saturated up, and just hold the line against the pressure from Bisu, I don't necessarily think his position is too bad here.
Well, when I see, a Zerg player take a bunch of economic damage, going into this two-base push timing. And then they still have a lot of drones. What I'm thinking is they're missing units, right? They're lacking on units. You have to cut units to build up this drone count again. And so HerO is gonna have to try and beat Bisu's two-base push, which is already very difficult to stop with a lack of forces here. Now, Bisu's actually gone up to high ground and started to take his third. That doesn't mean he's not going to push here really soon. It just means he's going to sit, wait for cannons to finish, transfer some workers, and then probably go. But this is still going to be a really scary timing.
Bisu's being super annoying right now. He split off like his army into 3 little clumps to make it so hard for HerO to find those and clear them up, and also set him up for potential run bys later on to keep these Hydras more worried about being pinned back and dealing with these Zealots. It's taking him such a long time to find these. He's going to potentially catch everything up in that top left, but not really. Actually, he's leaving the other 2 Zealots there. He can't really stay there for too much longer with his Hydras. He's a little bit worried about a frontal engagement coming out of Bisu in just a moment here. It's going to be a pretty big timing push, but I still like HerO's position. He just needs to skirmish.
And now we see the follow-up plan from HerO. Drop play is on the way. No sign of switching into Hive at all. HerO is going to position these overlords around the top side. There's still a lot of Corsairs here, so Bisu could absolutely shut this down if he's in the right place at the right time, but it may be the case that Bisu has his Corsairs down on the bottom side while this drop is coming into the main. HerO's just going to stick to layer tech, try to end this game early while Bisu's still on 3 bases. If Bisu ever stabilizes fully and gets the 4 bases, this game will likely end, but HerO gonna try and make it crazy before that time comes, dropping inside the main base now. This is such a scary drop. So much stuff in this drop. It's gonna be dropped right on top of the mineral line. Lurkers here. Tons of Hydras as well gonna be dropped on top of this. The Corsairs are gonna sit off to the side, wait for the Overlords to leave, and then hop on top of them. This is gonna be a lot of Overlord kills, what we see going down here shortly, but this is so much damage in the main. He's doing a ton to reset the overall tech of Bisu. Some storms come into the main now. The Corsairs trying to get all the Overlord kills they can, but the Hydras are doing a pretty good job screening for them. Didn't kill the Templar Archives, though. I'm surprised he didn't go for that. And the what's that thing called? It's right in the middle of the screen right now.
Right now, the Overlords?
No.
Or the Nexus, you mean?
That right there, the Citadel. There it is.
Oh, the Citadel.
The Citadel of a dude. If you kill the Citadel and the Citadel and the Templar Archives, then you really slow down the tech being added back again, and Bisu won't be able to make Templar for a really long time. As it stands, Bisu clears out everything and can get back to work in that main base as soon as he recreates this Nexus.
He's going to do a Lurker drop at the 3rd base, saying if Bisu's not paying attention, he's in trouble. I mean, he can pull these probes pretty quickly. He's trying to storm, actually, to get the kill on that Overlord, but both of the Lurkers do manage to drop. They will get at least a few of these probes. Oh, he's not moving his probes quickly enough. That's 8 kills on that Lurker now.
Ooh, these drops have really worked out well, Shun. The main base cleanup was pretty handy by Bisu. He did get through that quite quickly, and so I was getting a little worried for HerO, but that follow-up drop in the 3rd, killing off a lot of those probes as well. He's already struggling here on just 2 base. Now down to 41 probes. He can really only afford to mine on 2 base.
He's going to drop again. He's crazy. This is insane from HerO. Look how much macro there is coming out of this guy as well. He's got an army at home that's ready to like try and skirmish with Bisu while he's setting up for potentially another drop here. Actually, he's not going to drop at all. He's going to flank. He's going to try and wrap around the back here of Bisu's army while he's distracted, engaging. There might be enough in the engine for HerO to just mop this up. Bisu needs to keep skirmishing and micro him back to this high ground pizza slice. Maybe he can still hold the line against this. HerO sending reinforcements from the west now to try and get a full surround that once again. But while this is all going on, another Lurker drop at the 3rd.
Another Lurker drop at the 3rd is insane during all of this engagement. Bisu still holding strong. He's got a lot of Templar here at the core of his army. The Dragoon number still very high. Another Observer comes up. so that he can continue to make this push work. But coming around the surround here is really good, starting to target down a lot of the Templars. Not enough army here for HerO to actually overwhelm this force, but getting in and sniping down the Templar is a great start. I think he might have gotten the Observer as well. Again, pretty annoying stuff there for Bisu, who's having a hard time even making it back to his own natural.
Yeah, this is really good for HerO, and only just now Bisu utilizing some of these zealots that were left out on the map, trying to bring them back to see if he can add a bit more meat to his army. He really needs it. He's only got 42 probes. He's trying to make something happen right now, but HerO is just a macro god in this game. He's been firing on all cylinders, currently even on supply with an almost 20 drone count lead as well. So the longer this game goes on, the worse it gets for Bisu. He hasn't got a full base online, and with HerO set up like this, he's content just to stay in battle Zerg mode and keep punishing him.
Well, if Bisu ever gets his 4th base online, guys, I said it before, I think HerO will end up losing this game. He does not have a 5th. He's starting to mine out in his main and natural, and Bisu just needs to survive. His army is better, and it's going to continue to get better, whereas HerO is just kind of stuck on layer tech. He needs to actually get something done. Diving into the main again, 3 cannons here to start to deny that, but these Hydras dropped out on top. We're going to make short work of that. Can he actually go after that tech this time? I think he absolutely should. At the same time, though, Bisu is just going to counterattack. He says, I'm completely done with this play from you. Diving in here towards this extra base, this 4th base. Can he get on top of everything and actually break through? The Zealots are just tanking a lot of spines, but there's only 2 lurkers here, and the Dragoons are now on high ground, raining down phase disruptor shots on everything. Zealots getting in the mix. A flank of Hydra is going to come up. Templar, do they have storms to deal with this? They do. Plenty of storm left here. Bisu is absolutely crushing with this attack.
Yeah, Bisu's doing a really great job right now, saying supplies are still even, but killing this 4th base does take out a lot of the potential from HerO to just keep macroing like a madman. So now Bisu maybe has a little bit of a chance to just close out the game from this position. Has still got the main to deal with and lost some of his tech, but if he can somehow get control of this main quickly and reinforce this push, he will be okay. Looks like HerO doing a pretty good job of trading thus far. The longer the game goes on, he's going to need to get another base online, though, to supplement losing that mineral. And he has got this base in the top left pocket coming online with the gas there as well. The HerO's definitely starved for gas right now. And once he does get that base up in the top left, he will be able to churn out even more army than before. So still not a game over situation for HerO, but needs to play catch up quick.
Yeah, this is a tough situation now. The main and natural are just mining out. You can see those last few patches just disappeared on the minimap. HerO 3rd base not looking that fresh either, and Bisu just saturated this base over here at the 4th. Oh, he's out of position though. This could be really, really big. He needed these Templar ready and in position with all the Dragoons, Zealots, and Archons. He will bring everything forward now, starting to cast those storms, starting to break through these lurkers on either side. HerO trying to push through, but he gets a massive storm. And Bisu going to hold on to that all-important 4th. This is getting really rough for HerO, who hasn't been able to break through anywhere.
Yeah, he's now distracted, dealing with a couple of Zealots annoying him at this new base that's starting to sprout out as well. Any damage to HerO right now is pretty critical with how he's a little bit behind the curve with losing that mineral only. He hasn't even got this gas going on. Like, he just needs the minerals desperately to keep churning out his army so he can keep up with the pace of Bisu. Bisu's also mined out on 2 of these bases, but Protoss being on this 2-base setup is a lot more favorable for them. So right now, HerO's in a little bit of trouble, and Zealot's getting more and more damage done at this 9 o'clock. HerO's starting to struggle to put out the fires, and that will also allow another massive attack to come in and maybe snipe this 4th.
Bisu really putting it all on the line here with this attack. He's tucked himself into a position where he cannot easily run back out of. These Zealots are getting so much damage in this base, though. Oh my gosh, finally going to be dealt with. The drones can get back to mining. Still has 46 drones overall, so pretty good economy behind this, but there's just not the tech that HerO really needs. He's made it to 2-2, but he's never going to get up to 3-3. He's probably never going to get that hive online. He needs to end the game here and now with what he's got. Lurkers and Hydras on 2-2. Bisu's going to continue to grow in complexity in his army, adding more and more Templar and getting up to those really high level upgrades. One Dragoon way over there in the top left, completely stranded and out of position. HerO setting up for some sort of surround on this base, but I think Bisu can hold everything off. He's got plenty of Templar, even without a fourth gas.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit dicey for HerO now. It's going to be so hard to trade cost efficiently, especially from these low to high ground transitions onto these pizza slices. You're going to try and set up for one big massive surround now with units coming from the rally point as well as trying to hit from the north. See if you can distract Bisu and pull him out of position to the north a little bit and then get a snipe on the Nexus might be an idea, but already some rallied units there to defend against that, going to be bullying those Hydras back. Bisu's doing a pretty beautiful job of trying to stay in this game. It looks like there might just barely be enough of Hydras here though to potentially snipe this Nexus despite all that.
Wow, I thought he had a few more storms here. One more storm does pop out. Targeting on the Dragoons is pretty good. He's getting rid of the cream of the crop of the army here for Bisu. All the important units have mostly gone down. There's like one Templar left, an Archon, a Dragoon, and a Zealot. It's crazy how close this game is right now. We're at 80 supply on either side, and it's not clear who's going to win just yet.
Oh, it's absolutely not clear at all. He's even cancelling those lurkers just because he knows they could potentially be stormed. He needs to maintain as much damage potential right now. And look at that mind out at the 9 o'clock now is HerO. This is definitely favoring Bisu the longer this goes on. HerO's going to be feeling a lot of pressure to find a win condition. He was so close to busting Bisu, or at least sniping that Nexus to limit the macro potential of Bisu in this game. Wasn't able to quite achieve that. Bisu knows how important it is to just hang on to this pizza slice and protect this base at all costs.
Yeah, he has to keep this base alive, and on the flip side, HerO has to destroy it. He's down to just one base mining here, and he's made this last group of lurkers. Looks like he's going to pop up some lurkers maybe into the main base while he pushes up here. Can he actually make this work? Running right up on top of the Protoss army with a bunch of these lurkers. They're going to die super fast. It looks like Bisu going to hold on to everything while really HerO doesn't get much damage done. That's a bit unfortunate. Where are those lurkers that were in that drop? There they are.
Just chilling.
I think he's just forgotten about it. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. There's no lurkers in this Overlord to do anything either, so that's a little bit unfortunate for HerO. He's not going to be finding what he needs in this game to start to come back. I think this is the writing on the wall for HerO. This is when we'll start to see Bisu come out onto the map and just clean up on aisle 5. I do not think there's much hope left for our Zerg player to take this game anymore. Bisu's done an absolute stellar job of defending here.
Excellent job. HerO taps out Bisu with the victory. The comeback started with that DT slipping into the third base, getting all those kills, but really HerO trying to break through these bases, not quite able to do it, even with that highly successful drop. An excellent first game, a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have a great series here today, Shun. This should be... if this first game is any indicator, a really hotly contested series between these two legends. Here he is. HerO spawning in the top left. Bisu in bottom right. Cross map on Radion. This is shaping up to be an excellent series, Shun.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised with that game number 1. You don't always see like mass drops like that, and also not very often very successful, and that's the main reason why you don't see it. It's just very difficult to get the damage done with them without just being cleaned up by the Sonic Storm on the receiving end. So it was a nice idea though to like do a 2-pronged drop with like the lurkers at the third. I'd like to see a few more plays like that. You don't necessarily have to do a massive doom drop in the main base, but even just like, you know, a couple of lurkers here and there, these expansions can really throw Protoss off.
Kind of out of character for HerO to go for layer-based style. He's much more of a hive player. At least that's how I see him. And so that might have been a reaction because of all the damage that was done over at that third base, losing all those drones. He's like, I'm just never going to be able to get this fourth, smoothly. With a normal style of play, I actually need to stick on layer and just have masses of units to be able to make this work. Is that your interpretation as well, Shun, or am I way off base?
I don't know, a little bit. I think he was planning on doing something similar regardless of that. It just didn't go so well for him. I mean, you got two options as Zerg when they're taking that third. Usually Hive is the safer option because there's, less execution required to make something happen. But you can just, play aggressive and do either, kill the third base. But in that case, it was on a high ground third location, a little bit hard to attack up into those ramps. So the mass drop play wasn't necessarily a bad choice there from HerO, and he has got a very wide range of play despite being a macro monster. So I'm not too surprised to see it. Maybe just wanting to practice as much possible range of play for his future events, so that he can, kind of keep his opponents guessing what exactly he's gonna do. Did go for a very fast 11 hatch at the natural third here against Bisu's gateway first. He's kind of lucky that Bisu's cross map. It's going to take a little bit longer for the Zealot to get here.
It's one thing to mention as well. Tournaments like this, events like this, are a great opportunity for our pro players to practice in a best of 7. They don't get a lot of opportunities to do best of 7 when they're playing pro league and university league and all that stuff. They're mostly playing best of 1s, KCM included. It's best of 1. Best of 7 is something that you only really get in these deep tournament runs, and so having the opportunity to just play out a full best of 7 for some cash with stakes on the line is a fantastic experience for any of these guys. Just getting a little bit more experience in that best of 7. And throwing off your opponent, playing a little bit out of character, trying different things, and keeping your opponent guessing. There's a certain skill to that these players don't often get to work on. So it's a nice little tournament here, regardless of when it was played, guys. We love to see how these guys want to approach a best of 7, and so far HerO throwing a bit of a curveball there, going for a quick or just a straight up layer play and pretty fast drops. Interesting how HerO's decided to play this out. Will he go for something similar here on Radion? I expect a Hive game from him this time at least.
Yeah, I expect a more macro-centric game from him on this map and these positions especially. I doubt it's possible you'll sometimes see a lurker drop in these situations, just 1 overlord and 2 lurkers while you're distracting him with your army, but nothing too crazy like a mass doom drop in the main base. It's super unlikely to see anything like that here, I would have to say. Very fast +1 from Bisu, so not going to be repeating the same mistake in that game number 1 of not having that upgrade finishing up in time.
Yeah, let's see. Gonna get into this main base here, distracting with the Zealots over at that third, just kind of holding that position. This is more of a queen way, a 0 way of dealing with these Zealots, just kind of sitting out in front, not clearing them just yet, waiting for them to engage before trying to get in on top of these. But eventually he will want to clear these out, because he doesn't want to take one-on-one fights with these Zealots. He's much ever 2 or 3 on 1. Now he's gonna get that around, get that 3-on-1 on the Zealot. He does clear those out pretty effectively, but he did get fully scouted there in the main, and Bisu has full information of what's going on.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this game pans out. So far, it's kind of hard to figure out where these guys are stacking up against one another, but that's a big momentum shift for Bisu to take HerO out in game number 1. I'm sure HerO wasn't too happy about how that went down. Going to be sending out his lings all over the map just to make sure there's no Zealots hiding there. Bisu kind of threatening the idea of a 5 Zealot move out now, just in case there was an Overlord perched up there. Doesn't know for sure if he can move out because of how late this Corsair scout is. They'll be going double Stargate as well behind that to try and catch up on that air defense curve, but I don't know, man. I mean, he needs to be super careful because he doesn't know how many Zerglings there are. There's only 1 cannon, so if he does move out and the links that are run by, Bisu could just be dead, so he's a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger on these Zealots.
Second Stargate just started in the natural. Bisu gonna go for it. I'm not a big fan, personally. We've got +1 armor on the way. I understand what Bisu's trying to do with this, but It's so often that we see this type of play fall apart, Shun. It's so clearly easy to kind of dismantle a play like this. It's going to delay your Templar by so much. You're not going to have the storms quickly. You're probably going to have to build a lot of defense back at home. If Hydras get made, you know, you end up having to build like 7-8 cannons in your natural, really delay your move out completely. I think that the Zerg ends up getting control of the game a lot of times. Those Zergs that are capable of, you know, defending all their overlords properly, and I think HerO's one person who's definitely able to do something like that.
Yeah, I think so. But I would like to see it work more often. It just doesn't seem to be the case. Like, most often than not, we see it kind of fall flat on its face, especially if the Zerg is able to identify it earlier on in the game. So far, though, HerO has no idea about this, at least for the time being. Quite difficult to scout that out with the Scourge as well. They have very short view distance, so don't usually identify that super easy with their limited sight range. But he is actually going to see this Stargate in the natural expansion, which is a really big read for HerO going forward.
He's just finishing up his Hydra Den, so he can start to slam out a bunch of Hydras here, but he already made some Mutalisks, so he will have to try and get some sort of value out of these. What can he do with the Mutalisks to actually get that all-important value? Looks like he's going to send everything straight to the main counterattack while this is coming into his natural. How much does he have here? How many sunken colonies are prepared? That's quite a lot of lings and a good number of sunkens. Here comes the Scourge. They're going to get immediately killed. But meanwhile, in the main base of Bisu, pandemonium is happening. All the probes are going to have to be pulled out of this main, and I think the Corsair or the Mutas are getting a huge amount of damage. Who is dealing more damage to whom, though? I think Bisu might have a stronger attack here coming into that natural with so many Zealots getting up into the main now and a lot of Overlords going down. HerO can't produce anything. I think Bisu's going to come out the better for this. It really does seem like HerO's starting to fall apart.
Yeah, he can't really deal with this aggression. Even the Zealot in the main base does get cleaned up, but I mean, unfortunately, yeah, being supply blocked for this long is really problematic for him. He didn't kill that many probes. He killed a few, maybe like 6 or so probes here, but not really the kind of number to compensate for losing this many overlords or being supply blocked for this long. So kind of going Bisu's way. It's not terrible that he got some value out of this Muta Scourge, but losing this amount of overlords is almost unable to be recovered from, I would say.
It seems like HerO realized what was happening a little bit too late, just seconds too late, because he had already built those Mutas. They were already in production when he saw that Stargate. He wasn't able to switch over immediately into Hydras and get out of this play. He made the best possible what he could out of that situation, that desperate situation. Sending in the counterattack worked out okay, but he's still really struggling here. He's having a hard time getting enough overlords together to actually produce anything. You can see 700 minerals in the bank. Finally, some of that starts to disappear as these overlords pop out. But again, we're going to see a huge amount of overlords go down here over at the third, and DTs are here as well. Dude, if he kills this last DT, this last overlord, the DT is going to do massive work, and indeed he will kill that. DT killing a ton of drones here. More Scourge pop out. He's going to be able to chase those Corsairs away for now, but this is so much damage. So much damage has gone down, and I don't see Overlord speed coming in here anytime soon. I don't know. He should have it on the way, really. I'm surprised that he doesn't have it here since he was supply blocked for so long. He definitely had the money.
Right. This is really problematic, man. I don't know how HerO is going to be able to take this game away from Bisu. It's going to be a long time coming. He's got to do a lot of just sitting back and building back up again and trying to weather the storm. One thing going for him is that they won't be as sharp of a Templar timing coming out of Bisu, so not much besides Zealots that he's got to worry about, and these DTs, but that was a lot of damage. He's only just now starting to recover the drones that were lost as well. Those two DTs absolutely ravaged the economy of HerO. That Ser DT style is kind of Bisu's bread and butter that he popularized way back when, and he's doing an absolutely exemplary job here of demonstrating why he was considered the absolute god of PvZ.
Yeah, he is crushing right now, getting in there. dealing massive overlord damage. HerO still has, you know, +1 armor on these Scourge, and with a good spread, a good enough spread, he might be able to get some good connections here. Oh, does get a couple. Forces out a storm as well. It's the first storm at almost 12 minutes, guys. So you can see how far delayed those storms are for Bisu, but he will be getting his third base online now. He's done enough damage. He's created enough chaos and enough of a slowdown to HerO's economy and his production that he's able to go ahead and just take this right out in the front. HerO recovering right now is going to dive in, maybe get a Templar snipe, maybe go for the main again. See if he can get in here and actually take over the main for a second time. This time there's no counterattack from Bisu. So if he gets in here and actually takes this over, forces back the Scourge. Oh, that was a great storm to get rid of the Scourge. Now he's got to run.
Yeah, now he has to be kicked. Now he has to just retreat. I mean, Bisu's doing a great job of kicking him out of his base whenever he needs to. So far, so good for Bisu. HerO has done a great job of recovering, it has to be said, but he's still got a bit of a ways to go. Luckily for him, that Bisu committed so much into that Corsair DT. The transition does take a little bit of time for Bisu to kick into the mid-game fully, so HerO has a little bit of breathing room to maybe come in here, snipe some of these High Templars, and start to even out the curve of the game for himself while taking a 4th base. So we'll have to see if he can get some kind of compensation for this game state. He needs something, though. He can't just sit back and do nothing. He has to come in here and find something. Has got some Scourge to zone out those Corsairs when they try and come and deal with these mutas, so he can get maybe on top of the main base and get a lot of probe kills here.
Gonna go after the probes now. There's a Templar coming up. Gotta be careful with those Scourge. Oh, the Scourge get completely wiped. We'll be able to get a couple hits there at the end, but the mutas are gonna take so much damage in the retreat. Yeah, he's got to actually fight this. He can't run away from it any longer. He is going to turn and fight for a moment, trying to get as much damage on this. Again, he actually storms his own Corsairs. Hold on. Bisu, what was that?
That was crazy good from HerO as well, to have the confidence to like just turn and fight with that, and stood on top of, flew on top of the Corsairs to force a storm on top of them. Really beautifully done. HerO is kind of starting to mount a comeback here. Like, this is really impressive stuff. That's why I always love HerO. Like, no matter how much pressure you put on him, he always still manages to find the one way of starting to come back into the game.
And now looking at the armies, there's not a lot of anti-air here at all. He can, of course, rebuild those Corsairs, but he's not doing so. 2 Templar in the main, waiting for a group of Scourge to come flying in here just to throw down those preemptive storms. But if HerO goes after the Templar over at this natural and then brings the Hydras together, well, it looks like actually HerO wants to continue to expand. 2 expansions going up. Over towards that top right, just coming online now is that 12 o'clock. So will he be able to snipe a couple Templars, delay this push? I think there's a good chance he can. Ooh, great storm there. But still, flying through, gets the Templar kill for free mostly. And HerO is going to be able to hold this back. That's so many Hydras, actually. He hasn't added up to that 55 drone count, so he hasn't been greedy at all. He's got a big army here. Oh, diving in again. These mutas have taken so much damage that only 6 now do remain, but another Templar was sniped. Drones are going to be forced away from this base, at least for a moment. +2, +1, or +1, +2 is done for Bisu. He's coming in with this attack. A big flank is set up, though. HerO is going to completely surround this. There's no Templar in this forest, dude. Bisu, is he coming out too early?
I think he might be coming out a little bit too early. He has to be super careful here. Interestingly enough, we also have +2 armor upgrades on those mutas, so HerO really committed into trying to counter this double Stargate play from Bisu, and now Bisu might be in a little bit of trouble because skirmishing with HerO without fully committing to the attack will be quite difficult to achieve. He has to very heavily commit into this 12 o'clock pocket to threaten this expansion. That allows HerO to set up for us around, tries to come in and snipe some of these High Templars. Beautiful preemptive storms though from Bisu. Bisu going to be shutting down most of that attempt, but it has to be said, when all said and done, there's only one High Templar left remaining with 2 valuable Storms. He's going to need the best Storms of his life to have any chance at winning this. I don't think they're going to be nearly good enough. He does kill the base at 12, but now the army is dead for Bisu.
Yeah, this is going to be completely surrounded and cleaned up effortlessly. Bisu is bringing up some more Templar behind this. He's trying to buy time by hiding up on that high ground, but I think that HerO will clear out absolutely everything. What remains at the end of this, though? Will it be enough of an army left over for HerO to counterattack and prevent the 4th base from Bisu? We did lose quite a bit of drones here as well at the 12 o'clock. We'll be saturating that top right here shortly, but there are some units still running around. Look, 2 Zealots are going to come over here and be a bit annoying for HerO. So HerO, who should be actually counterattacking right now, has to send forces up to this top right to secure it. This is a pretty good deal for Bisu, forcing that back for now. Yeah. He is going to be able to get Templar up on that high ground with a bunch of cannons finished, get that 4th base online.
Yeah, forcing those to chase down these Zealots individually while running away into the main bases is a very high-level way of stressing the task switching ability of HerO and forcing the Hydras to stay pinned back for such a long time. I do kind of like HerO's position. That double expansion made a lot of sense. Like, he was just baiting Bisu to come in here and try and commit to killing one of these bases and having the other one as a backup plan, so it didn't matter too much that it got killed. Does still have this 4th base of Bisu's to contend with, so still in a not the best of position. Oh, he catches these High Templars! That might be just what HerO needs to establish his dominance in this game once more, saying I would really say that he's in a much more commanding position after taking away the splash damage potential of Bisu now. I don't think that this is a favorable game state for a Protoss player.
More mutas are being made. He's really taking advantage of the armor upgrades that he invested into early. Still has not thrown down a Queen's Nest. I'm so surprised by that, HerO. This game has been quite scrappy, but still. Radion cross map, you expect a Hive game from HerO. Storm there, goes down. He just targets one of the observers. And Storm actually did a lot of damage to that secondary observer, so each of these observers that HerO picks off is going to be potentially quite impactful, forcing Bisu to make more and more observers, not to make shuttles, and not to make Reavers just yet. Another observer goes down. Can he get in here and snipe a couple more Templar? Good preemptive storm there. Flies right through it and actually takes a lot of damage. Very good control from Bisu, holding on for now. Still keeps losing Templar over and over and over again, and that number has been kept very low by HerO, who may be looking to overwhelm with Hydra pretty soon.
Yeah, I would say so. Interestingly enough, he actually got +1 attack as well as +2 armor on these Mutalisks now, so he does seem to be really committing into the Muta Hydra style and just relying on taking away that splash damage potential from Bisu to make sure he gets the most value out of his Hydralisks. And I do think that's a plan will work if he manages to execute it well. Bisu's doing a pretty good job of screening those Mutalisks now. The preemptive storms have been pretty amazing recently. He needs to keep it up though if he gets any more of these High Templar snipes. Yes, look, he's baiting out the preemptive storms now. He's playing Bisu a little bit like a fiddle and killing all of these High Templars almost for free before losing the rest of those Mutalisks, and that's just what he needs to do to potentially just come in here with a massive flood of Hydras and bowl over this army.
Yeah, here it comes now. You can see the blue trickling down the map on either side. HerO's going to hit this from multiple angles. There's 1 Templar in this army, 2, 3, 4. Wow, actually a bunch more Templar just arrived from the rally point. Going to try and push up here onto this high ground. There's still a couple more storms available up here. That bridge is a death zone for these Hydras. Really having a hard time busting through that area. This ramp as well. Oh my god, so many Hydras went down there. He is starting to break through. He might be able to target down the Nexus here. He really has to be quick about it though. Can't be sitting around killing probes for too long. Really do need to target that down. He will go for the target now. Behind this though, he's got hardly anything back at home. Can he actually kill it? Oh my gosh, he dilly-dallied a little bit too long with that. not committing immediately to the kill on that Nexus really cost him. HerO being forced back now at 143 supply. Does he have enough to deal with the counterattack of Bisu, which is going to be savage?
I mean, I don't know. He needs to snipe High Templars again. He's made another round of Mutalisks, but he has to act quick. He has to come in here and kill all of these High Templars right now, saying, oh, this army is going to wipe out his 12 o'clock, and then it can either rotate round to his rally point and go for a kill move, or just come to the top right and start to take out some of these critical mining bases and siphon off the macro potential. Well, look at this. Pretty beautiful snipes onto these High Templars, but this base is definitely dead. The question is, how quickly can Bisu rotate now and do some follow-up damage? He's got some army back at home at 6 o'clock to hold the line and prevent that base from being sniped. He was trying to get a few Hydras down there to finish the job. Wasn't able to do so. Pretty beautiful storms here from HerO. He's feeling a lot of pressure to make something happen now. Bisu is making it work. His army is getting caught out of position. HerO needs to just fight this army, and that's going to go Bisu's way.
Yeah, Bisu is really dominating here, and you can see the mutas getting cleaned up. In the end, mutas are not the greatest fighting units. They're much more of a tactical sniping unit, and so HerO, even with all those upgrades on the mutas, not going to be able to take this one home. Bisu with another win, even without making any sort of Dark Archon after the fact, losing every single Corsair, still able to defend and keep enough Templar alive with just preemptive storms to take this game home, that just have that extra bit of splash damage to make it happen. Here we go. HerO spawning over in the top right. We got Bisu up there in the top left. Deja Vu. Can be a pretty one-dimensional map, I'd say, in this matchup. Like, a lot of times we're going to see the Zerg player trying to contain the Protoss on 2 or 3 bases. It's just the way that the map kind of functions here. But does he really want to play another layer-based game? HerO has been showing that so far in the series, but it's just not been working out for him.
Yeah, it hasn't really been going his way. I hope we do see some Hive transitions from him. Maybe he's just been really wanting to practice that particular style in this best of 7 series. It's not something he's going to pull out too often, especially at like the ASL or something. So definitely wants to practice his full range of play. Maybe that's one of the styles that he's not had enough practice with, and he wanted to see if he could showcase it here against Bisu. But it seems like Bisu's just got a full read on that style and how to deal with it. I think he's going to have to dig deeper and play a lot more a standard game to combat Bisu in this series.
So we've got an early pool, overpool from HerO. It's good because Bisu scouted him first, would be able to block his natural, and so with that probe over here in his main base, HerO gonna probably send a drone over towards the 3rd. Try to take that instead. It's a little bit tough to get this one down. He actually sends out the drone a little early to try and get some damage on this probe. But you can still drop the pylon. It's not a big deal. He will drop the pylon. HerO going to be forced to take a 3rd. Possibly. Oh, he's actually, I think, going to take it over near position to Bisu. No, he sees the pylon now. He's going to change direction. He wants to take it over at the center right. Taking the near position hatchery, it has some benefits, but it's generally not going to lead to a long game. You kind of want to do something aggressive if you're going to take that base.
Yeah, you kind of have to keep the gas pedal all the way down if you're going to take a base like that. And we saw how the first 2 games have gone when he's tried to stay lair and be a bit more aggressive with the battle Zerg. And you can see why that's not potentially the best option here as well. It doesn't want to necessarily like throw this game just by building the base over there and saving a few seconds. It's much more valuable just to send the drone on a different path down here at 3 o'clock and take that instead. Will give him a lot more potential in the mid to late game phases, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty tough on Deja Vu to hold this 3rd base. Quite a long distance between the natural and the 3rd. You got to go kind of up onto the high ground and then around the corner, down onto the low ground again and into that pocket. But we'll see how HerO handles this. I've just personally been kind of abused by Zerg on this map in these positions so much that I'm a little bit, you know, cautiously optimistic for how HerO can handle this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really rough map for Zerg sometimes. I mean, you can have good games on it, but there are a lot of potential spots that Protoss can abuse you, and he's trying to get some chase micro hawk tour on that probe, but not able to quite find that, unfortunately.
Bisu on a mineral walk there, walks right through the drone, still trying to get after this. The lair on the way here, so Bisu knows pretty much everything. He just wants to make sure that nothing is being missed and that there's no cancel on that layer. It's a little bit too late for that now, and so he will head out of the main base, keep that probe alive. Zealot heading over towards that third, and now we're going to see some of that abuse we were just talking about. Zealot heading over to this third. It's so tough to cover your natural and your third. Lings come down here to deal with this Zealot. Second Zealot comes in towards the main. It takes so long to send the Lings that are dealing with this Zealot over to help out with that second Zealot that's coming into the main now.
Yeah, he wants to get back to mining so quickly. Like, this is a lot of lost mining time for Zerg early game when they've got already so few drones mining. Does manage to tuck that Zealot behind the minerals and be a little bit more annoying against these Zerglings. You can get a good surround on this Zealot though, 2 on either side. So with some good manual move commands to position the Lings, you can get a pretty good surround on that. So far so good from Bisu though. He actually breaks out through those Zerglings, trying to get the drone. Doesn't quite find that third connection though. So manages to avoid disaster, but killing this Overlord in the main base with the Dragoon's a pretty nice pickup from Bisu still.
Interesting that he decided to make that Dragoon. Just disguising the build here a little bit. +1 with Corsair on the way. And Bisu, aside from that Dragoon, everything else looking pretty normal. It's always curious to me why Protoss players make that Dragoon. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but
it's a bit of a mind game because like the Zerg player wants to go deep with the Overlord into the main base, but the deeper you go, the more chance they can just counter that with a Dragoon. And if you do kill the Overlord, it's worth it to make the Dragoon. So it's like a bit of like a mind game. Sometimes you go a little bit into the main base to make them start the Dragoon, but then you're already running out to not let them get the kill. Most times the Protoss players seem to be able to calculate it though, when's the good time to build it and actually get the kill on that.
Looks like had to build a building here just to have open supply enough to build one pair of Scourge, but they are on the way now. HerO going to most likely defend both these Overlords, but the supply block is hurting him. There's the Scourge coming now. Looks like he will get one Overlord. There it is. First Overlord goes down. Scourge on the way. They have been spotted, and he will try to retreat with this Corsair. Has opened up enough supply to keep the ball rolling here for HerO, but again, supply blocked. Didn't make quite enough Overlords, it seems, and so HerO's struggling in this game so far to really get his feet underneath him. Bisu starting to move out with the 4 Zealot, 1 Dragoon, kind of special forces hit squad. Will be able to force quite a bit of response out of HerO in order to shut this down. In fact, a sunken colony here. Okay, mutas are going to come out. That will shut this down pretty hard, and HerO should be able to switch back into drone production after this.
Yeah, this Dragoon won't be able to do much against the Mutalisk despite being able to shoot up. Hopefully can trade off some of these Zerglings somewhat cost efficiently, but I don't necessarily think so. I think this is going to be a nice little cleanup for HerO, and will give him some kind of tempo swing in this game. He's got 6 Satchery worth of production right now. I don't know, man. Like, this is a tough map for HerO still, so cleaning up this force is nice, but I don't think he's out of the woods yet still.
Pre-Zealot speed timing turned out to be a little bit of a nightmare there for Bisu. HerO moving across the map now with his Mutas and Scourge. 2 Zealots did slip out and are heading down towards the center right. Might be able to get some damage over there if there's not at least a sunken. Even if there is one, maybe he can just slip in there, get a drone or 2. HerO flying in towards the main base now. He's just going to go for it. There's only 1 cannon here, and that's a lot of Scourge. Can he actually take over the main? Gets big connections on some of these Corsairs. 4 left over at the end. They all have full health, though. So diving on top of this, not really going to be an option. Zealots over at this third. Going after some drones. One has gone down so far. Can he get a couple more for his time here? Looks like some great micro out of HerO, but he will lose the secondary drone. Pretty frustrating, but in the end, I think HerO's going to be feeling fine. He does have quite a bit of leeway, quite a bit of room to really drone up here, get up to that 45 count. He's already almost at that point, and start to get these 6 hatch Hydra online.
Yeah, losing Overlord's a little bit annoying. Does have some breathing room to squeeze out a couple more units. Hopefully he can dot his I's, cross his T's, and macro up well here going into this mid-game phase. He's going to need to against someone like Bisu. He's been playing absolutely insane those first 2 games, despite HerO already having pretty stellar macro in them. So yeah, I don't think HerO is out of the woods in this game. Even the Archon going to be coming down to put on some additional point defense pressure with these speed zealots, able to keep applying some damage maybe to some of these bases. There are these Mutalisks that are trying to hang out and scout around, maybe check for an early third base timing from HerO, but I doubt these Mutas are going to get any damage in the main.
No, and you know, this is a big misread, I think, from Bisu. He expects more Mutas to get made, and it's just pure Hydra production. You know, he didn't see any Hydras over the third, so he thought that maybe this wasn't a full switch from HerO just yet. Now these are going to get a couple of kills, I guess. These Mutas get in there, do something. But yeah, this is going to get completely shut down. The Archon is doing a tiny bit of damage. He actually needs to target that Archon. There we go. He will target that down now. Going after some of these Corsairs, he will get a couple of Overlords, and the DT can now deal some damage. Oh my goodness, actually getting in here and doing quite a bit. Everything will be cleaned at the end of the day, but a DT is still here. It's going to start to kill a lot of drones. 5 kills already. It's so important to target down that DT first and then the Archon, but he does get rid of that here at the end. Still 42 drones remaining. Yeah, Bisu misread as to what HerO is actually up to. And so he kind of throws away the army there and quite a few Corsairs. Gets a little bit of compensation, but overall, I think a win for HerO.
Yeah, I think that went HerO's way a little bit too much than it should have. He didn't even target fire the units correctly, and it still managed to go his way in this game. Bisu's going to be feeling a little bit of pressure to actually make something happen because he can't just take a third base so easily. It's quite a long rush distance from him as well to secure that third base. Even getting on top of these high Templars for free and forcing out 1 storm is a little bit too much damage. Even getting the kill on that's kind of insane with just 3 Mutalisks that he's able to achieve something like that. That one Muta's got 6 kills somehow. It's kind of crazy. Oh, he gets the snipe on the Templar. Okay, Bisu's in a lot of trouble. He's got almost no splash in this army. If HerO can macro up enough units, I don't think these Zealots are going to do enough now.
Yeah, this is way too many Hydras here. There's 1 or 2 storms maybe for this. As he's coming up the ramp, I might get a good storm here. Not the best dodge there from HerO, and that's a lot of his Zealots to follow this up. More Templar are making their way forward as well. Can HerO hold on to this position? He's got Lurker upgrade, I think, just finished. He's going to start making some Lurkers here, falling all the way back into his Sim City, though. It's a dangerous spot when Templar are making their way forward. You can start to storm on top of your Hydras and on top of the drones there, but he doesn't pull the trigger going all the way forward. He's actually going to send the Templar back a little bit, and so Hydras will come up and kill those kind of for free. Now Zealots coming up from the flank. Gonna try and overwhelm this part, but you know what? HerO holds on in the end here in kind of a desperate straits and desperate situation. He does manage to hold the line, and he hasn't lost many Overlords yet. The Corsairs come in. Dude, if these Corsairs had hit this third base as that fight was going on, how many Overlords would he actually have killed? He would have supply blocked HerO brutally.
I think so, yeah. There's a little bit of a mistake there from Bisu, and HerO was wise enough to pull those Hydras back to defend that 3 o'clock at an instant, noticing that there was a chance of that transpiring. Now he's got the Lurkers out. These Zealots don't have any more bite to work with, so HerO's successfully survived the early mid-game phase. Bisu's desperate to get some kind of compensation in the way of sniping 1 or 2 of these Overlords. That's not a bad trade there for him. Not out of the woods yet, though, is HerO. Whoa, those are some very, very fast Zealots indeed. I don't know what kind of leg enhancements they've got. Kind of crack enhancements there or something.
Yeah, it's a bit of a glitch. The Zealots were both moving in opposite directions, and they get kind of stuck together sometimes. That's Not something that you can take advantage, though, of that, though, in any sort of meaningful way. Just kind of randomly happens every once in a while. Maybe there'll be someday Protoss players will figure out how to use that. Get their zealots across the map quickly, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Now, HerO over here in the middle of the map. He's trying to take a good position that's going to force Bisu to actually push through that in order to get to him, but it's hard on Deja Vu. There's a lot of open space here in the middle, and it's pretty easy for Bisu to just go around this. So HerO really has to react quickly to wherever this army moves, and you don't really have a lot of tools for getting vision on the Protoss army here as the Zerg. Yeah, he's actually going to accidentally kind of run into the Dragoons here on the backside because he was moving his Lurkers after the Hydras. This is not the greatest fight here for HerO. The Dragoons getting on top of these Lurkers is a great trade for Bisu, and the Hydras fighting straight up against the Zealots. Dude, he's losing so much here. He's not putting even a single dent in the army of Bisu.
I mean, he has to kill this third base to get compensation. There's 4 cannons here. I don't know. I think that Bisu's going to save this base. If he doesn't kill all the probes and the Nexus, he doesn't have enough compensation to make this game really playable, I don't think. And it does look like Bisu's going to get in here and save the majority of those probes and the Nexus. So the writing is on the wall for HerO. He has to make something happen soon, or he's pretty much dead. Hasn't got a 4th base online, and Bisu's ready to take his 4th as well. Trying to flank on the eastern side now, so even get in here and punish the positioning of Bisu, but it doesn't look like it's good enough. He's just getting stormed into oblivion right now, Sam.
Ooh, these Lurkers on the low ground. 3-for-1 trade there, hitting 3 Lurkers with 1 Storm. Corsairs are cleaning up a bunch of these Overlords that are kind of dotted around the map. As all this chaos goes down, HerO is struggling hard. And a 4th base is going to start to come up for Bisu as well. HerO doesn't even have a 4th base on the way, guys. He's falling that far behind. Bisu is rushing right now HerO's attempts to play layer-based style against him.
I mean, this is just brutal. Like, I kind of feel bad for HerO. He's getting outclassed in this series. Bisu is just too much for him to handle. Bisu kind of giving us a bit of a masterclass just to how to hold your own as Protoss and not feel overwhelmed by the Zerg in any stretch of the imagination. And HerO feels desperate almost at every junction in dealing with him, but Bisu seems quite calm and calculated.
Falling back to this high ground, a bunch of Lurkers are going to be morphing here during this fight, and they just started morphing, so you know that Bisu's going to be able to get on top of those eggs. That's how a lot of these games end, is with a big morph of Lurkers getting stormed to death. As those all go down, I think this is going to be the tap out moment for HerO. Yeah, that is... I've been in this situation plenty of times, guys. Losing all your Lurkers like this is so painful.
Oh yeah, it doesn't feel good. As 125 mils, 125 gas per Lurker total. HerO taps out. We're going to be going to game number 4 with a 3-0 lead for Bisu. Is he just going to 4-0 this guy? This is insane.
Bisu, bottom right. HerO, top left. Is this going to be it? Is this going to be the end, or will we see a HerO come back?
I mean, I really want to say that he's at least going to win 1 game, right? Like, Bisu surely can't just 4-0 HerO right now. I mean, it definitely is looking like it's possible, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to say HerO is going to have some hope at fighting back. This is Monty Hall, one of my favorite maps of all time as well. Really insane map to have. I'm glad it's game number 4, so we're going to be seeing it guaranteed. I wonder what both players have planned on this. It's very difficult to navigate the early games, a little bit of rock, paper, scissors in terms of what lanes you want to expand down and scout as well. So we'll have to see what both players have got in store for us.
We just saw on screen there, tomorrow, Best versus Royal is going to be our next SDS SOOP Duel Series tomorrow. Another best of 7 with Best versus Terran. That's a nice little treat there. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah. It's good to see how Best plays out a best of 7, regardless of when exactly the series was played. A nice little bit of information about what kind of strategies he's going to be pulling out. Not exactly a perfect indicator of how he's going to be playing in ASL, but still, it's nice to see. And I hope you guys will join us there. It'll be just me, again, solo casting best of 7 between Best and Royal. So mark that on your calendars, guys. Come back tomorrow for another episode of the SOOP Duel series. Now, Bisu opening up with a 1-base build here. He's going to be getting out a very quick Corsair, most likely. There's not really a whole lot of other stuff you can do on this map. In terms of, you know, going like DT or something like that, something crazy. I'm not sure exactly how that would work. You know, using multiple probes to hop DTs over doesn't seem like the best idea. However, we're not really sure here. This is such a wild map, such a weird map, and we so rarely ever see 1-base style. Kind of anything is possible.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he could go for some other lines of play. There's just not very many good options here for 1-base tech. It's usually just going to be that fast Stargate. You don't necessarily have to make a Corsair, though. You could make a Scout as your first unit from this Stargate.
Oh,
that's actually a possibility.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me, Sean.
You have the ability to kill the overlords a little bit quicker and also harass the drones if they are relying on that spire timing to defend against the Corsair, and you're flying in there and targeting some drones down. That particle beam cannon would be a little bit problematic for the Zerg to not immediately have a response to that.
Bit funny, he's gonna go around the outside here with that Overlord. I would love to see him just go in with the Overlord. Get the information. It's so important in a situation like this, but here we're going to try and conserve the life of that Overlord as long as possible. He will throw in a Hydra Den, however, seeing that pylon kind of out in the main base. It hasn't really given him much information, but he's decided that he doesn't want to rely on this timing, this Spire timing. Instead, he's going to get a couple of Hydras out here to supplement the defense. There's a lot of Overlords out here, though. There's one over to the north. He should be able to snipe that one as well if he can find it. Bisu getting this first Overlord. Does need to look for more, though, with the 1-base play. You're really limiting yourself in terms of economy here.
Yeah, you kind of have to respond like you're playing against 2-port Wraith when you see Protoss do something like this. So, you know, get the Hydra Den out to supplement that air defense, a few Hydras to kind of screen for the Overlords and prevent drones dying for free if it was going to be a Scout. Very unlikely to see that Scout, but it does happen once in a while. Looks like nothing too crazy is going to happen for that. Attacking his own Overlords, just being like, yeah, you should probably help me kill this. But yeah, it's going to be a 2-base Spire play, so I don't think we'll see anything too crazy this game. Just both players trying to execute. Oh, this Overlord dying is actually a pretty big deal, Sam.
There it is. Second Overlord goes down, and now there's still a third Overlord out on the map, and he's headed in that direction. If Bisu finds that third Overlord, oh, it's so painful. HerO's already supply blocked. He's probably making 1 to 2 Overlords right now, but if he loses another one, then he's going to be supply blocked again. So rough.
Yeah.
Third base on the way here for HerO. A natural is going to be taken shortly for Bisu, it seems. As he continues to shark around here, he may see that third and start to put together a game plan, actually shut that down. No, for now he's not going to see it. Does he see it on the edge of his vision? Yes, he does. So Bisu knows the full score. He knows exactly what's up here for HerO. How is he going to react back at home?
Well, he's got a very fast Templar Archives play, even with Dark Templar out. Going to be trying to take his expansion and utilizing the DTs for both defense and eventually harassment for the time being, though those DTs are actually mainly for defense, just to make sure that this base can go up undeterred for the time being. Hasn't got a lot of units to work with, but has got these Corsairs to prevent the Overlords from providing detection and dealing with that DT. So if he can somehow glitch this DT into the main base with a probe, though, that'd be a pretty big pick-off. I think he is going to attempt to do that. Yeah, it looks like he's going for it in just a few moments here.
Yeah, he's going to go for that. That Overlord in top right did go down a little bit later than it could have. Probably not going to be that impactful in this game now. DT's going to try to hop over, but a Hydra is here. Is going to start to hit this probe. Oh, the DT just slips over so quickly. It's going to get into this main base. We do have Overlords. No Overlord speed just yet. Great surround so far. Can he actually get this? Ling's speed is done, so he's going to have a pretty... Oh, he gets away just barely. I thought he was going to be able to clear that out a little bit quicker, but now these drones are going to start to go down, and he can begin to harass his base. Going after the eggs is pretty nasty. He's really going to slow this down by quite a lot.
You can target the eggs and the lava. It does make a drone to glitch out the Zealot temporarily, but this is a little bit problematic. I mean, any slowdown right now is pretty good for Bisu. He's going to be feeling really happy about this. One base play transpiring into this, because now he's putting pressure onto HerO. He's distracted dealing with that DT, and now suddenly the Corsair is going to be coming in there and killing a Mutalisk as well. That Overlord softened up for a round 2. Needs to get some kind of Corsair snipes with the Scourge right now. Does manage to get one of them, it looks like, but getting any additional ones might prove difficult. Coming in with DT into the natural expansion as well. There's not that much DPS, so we might get a couple of drones.
2 drones end up going down. Still has this DT over by the 3rd base. HerO having a real hard time getting enough drones out here to actually get an army going, and he still has to worry about these Corsairs, which are flying around, sharking around, looking for more and more damage, more DTs sliding out on the map. This is a really hard style to deal with, what Bisu's brought to the table. Kind of an interesting way of playing Monty Hall, actually. I'm kind of a fan of this, honestly. Bisu, just going for the early Corsairs and then having the DT right away means it's almost impossible for HerO to do some sort of a Hydra bust. You're never going to get an Overlord over into position, and then he just stacks on the pressure with masses of tech, and he can go for economy. So he doesn't really have an army, but he's just put all of his eggs into the tech and economy basket, and it's worked out really well for him. Now he can build into a massive army, and with the damage that he's done, it's going to be hard to stop his upcoming attack.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time until he gets all the gateways down, but he's done what he needs to for the time being. HerO needs to make something happen right here, right now, and start to put the pressure onto Bisu and try and overwhelm the small numbers of units that he's got. He knows there's unlikely to be any kind of Archons or Storms right now, just pretty much a few technical units, as well as the fleet of Corsairs. If he can somehow bait the Corsairs and get on top of them with the Scourge and get snipes, then he's in a great position to punish Bisu. But Bisu's doing a great job of playing keep away and just staying near the cannon with those Corsairs and not taking any unnecessary risks.
Well, there's only one cannon at the natural. One cannon there at the natural is a little bit scary. If he dives to the natural right now, kills that cannon, I think he can overwhelm the position, maybe even push Bisu back onto one base. It's a little bit of a crazy play. He's going to have to go for a full commit to do that, but I think he needs to make it happen now because he's half the workers of Bisu. He really needs to get some sort of compensation, some sort of damage going, and he is going to finally dive in on that. He's waited until the perfect time to do so. He's screening really well with the Scourge. That's a lot of Corsairs, though. A lot of Corsairs are going to be brought up here. He forces back the probes for now, going after another cannon. Here comes the Scourge. Oh, the Scourge connections are huge. So many Scourge connecting onto a big group of Corsairs. Still a lot of Corsairs are left, though. Another group of Scourge, another round makes its way in, down to just 2 Corsairs. Oh my gosh, I think he just barely kills all of this, and he's got a couple of Mutalisks remaining. Another Corsair, another Archon pop out, or first Archon pops out, excuse me. It looks like he will be able to bully this back, but Bisu lost quite a bit, and he lost that air dominance that he's been building to this entire game.
Yeah, he's got so many Scourge built up to catch the remaining Corsair. He doesn't even need them right now. This was insane. He's done such a good job of trading with this. At least be careful, though. Beautiful connection on that Sonic Shockwave. Mutas have 3 range. Archons only have 2, but with a moving shot, you can still catch the Mutas, especially if they're using move commands to snap to the units to attack. They have to do, like, triangle Chinese maneuvers with those Mutas while flying parallel against the Archons to maintain maximum range, and that's very hard to execute in most cases. So as long as you're move commanding with your Archon manually, you can pretty much always catch those Mutas with a shot.
Zealots are heading across the map. Some drones are being macroed out and sent to the front. Actually needs to get those back and get to work. You can see HerO in all of this chaos, finding it hard to keep his head on straight, but he will bring back some mutas to deal with this. He's got a couple of sunken colonies over here. That DT, he's got to kill the DT. Get the DT. He does get it. All right, Bisu not quite able to slip by there, and we are going to get a third base from Bisu here. This game will go on. Guys, I'm cheering super hard for HerO right now because I really want to see this series continue, but it's so close. Really hard one to call. Here comes some more Scourge diving on top of these Corsairs. Can he actually get a connection? The Archon is actually going to drive things away. 3 kills on that. He's done a great job utilizing the Archon in this game to just keep those mutas at bay. Coming over here to this third base now. They cannot be everywhere at once. The Archon is going to be brought forward, but both of these cannons will die and the probes will start to fall as well.
Yeah, Bisu going to go for a counterattack at the third base location. Tries to get on top of those 2 sunk, with some mutas there to defend. They didn't have a lot of DPS. Takes a long time to chew through the high health pool of those Zealots to actually mop them up. Mutas actually do quite a lower DPS, you guys would assume. They're mainly tactical maneuver units, trying to abuse the lack of mobility of other units. And when they've got to just clean up like this, they don't necessarily kill the Zealots quickly enough, so they can come in here still and do a lot of damage to those drones.
Yeah, this is more than making up for the damage that was done over at that third base. Bisu sustained some probe losses, but these drone losses even more significant back at home. HerO really struggling to get this 3 base economy online. You want to be about 45 drones. We're sitting here at 30, but he is starting to pump those out once again. Bisu only at 34 probes himself, so things are really, really close at the moment. That's a lot of mutas, Shun. He's just going to go for it. He's just going to fight the Archon. Magic Box on top of this. Really good overall spreading here, and he actually beats the Archon head-to-head with Mutalisk. Just the control alone making this work. Scourge coming up. He's going to get on top of all of these Corsairs. He's spreading his mutas pretty well. There's another Archon in the mix, though, and it's not going to be enough. He won't be able to break the position just yet. Crazy that HerO even tried that, but he almost made it work still.
Yeah, almost made it work, but luckily Bisu has made a lot of Archons behind us. He knows just how committed HerO is into this attack. He's pretty much all in on these 3 base Mutalisk play, trying to overwhelm Bisu's defenses. Might bring back that Archon a little bit to try and maximize the splash damage potential on that Sonic Shock. He did so much damage to those mutas before going down. Now finally killing some probes in compensation. This is what their HerO needs. Now that he's killed these probes here, that's almost done enough damage to start transitioning into a more normal game if he wants to, but does still need to ideally find more and more damage with these mutas. He's made so much commitment into these air units that he has to keep the pressure on Bisu.
Wow, HerO is showing a really strange style of ZVP, man. Going for so many mutas in some of these games, this game especially, going so hard into mutas, but that Radeon game as well. Not really sure what's gotten into him. Bisu is building all the units to counter this, though. And if things go on for long enough, eventually Bisu will just have so many Archons and so many Corsairs. It's going to be impossible to actually fight this. When will the transition come for HerO? He's going to dive in again. 2 Archons. He had 2 Archons. I don't think he can fight that, Bisu. HerO. I'm pretty sure that's going to win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Really tough to beat that. There's only this 1 Archon at the natural that he could maybe overwhelm, but he's a little bit worried about multitasking, defending back at home while sharking around with this army. He probably will want to transition now. There's the evolution chamber. We'll need to start to set up for that potential point of transition. Has got a pretty even worker count to work with, and he's forced a lot of Archons, and there's no High Templars right now to bank up energy, so might be able to get some more damage done at this natural expansion while transitioning. But Bisu's still looking pretty okay.
I think these supplies are a bit deceitful. 99 to 88. It looks like HerO in an advantage, but so much of this is mutas, and mutas can evaporate to the variety of splash damage that Bisu has put together. HerO gonna take this base right out in front of Bisu's base. Maybe he can start to build, you know, a bunch of sunken defenses and start to crawl his way into the main base. I wonder if that's what HerO's going for here.
Yeah, he wants to like have his own point defense for his air fleet to keep harassing and have somewhere to fall back to, and also prevent Bisu from coming out onto this lane and containing him from taking another easy gas expansion. Looks like Bisu, though, not going to be worrying about any of that and just pulling the trigger on a massive attack on this third base of HerO. There's so many Archons here, saying it's insane. 5 Archons with 1/1 upgrades. They have so much damage. The counterattack going to be coming down from Bisu. We might be having a base trade scenario. This is going to be insane.
Yeah, this is going to be wild. That's a lot of Hydras, guys. HerO's going to fight right here in this base. I would have liked to see him pull back actually behind these mineral patches, but he's targeting down a lot of these Archons. Archons are falling pretty quickly. Completely supply blocked now, though, and these Hydras are going to end up falling. This base is going to have to be given up in the end. We'll pull the drones away, but I'm assuming most of those are going to end up going down to that very brutal splash damage. He does kill the natural of Bisu, but he's lost one of his own bases, and so this is getting really complicated. Down to just 75 supply. You can see how quickly those supplies switch as Bisu takes out that base.
He needs to take advantage of the fact that these Archons can't get around the map quickly. That's why he's dive bombing onto this natural expansion. Luckily, one Archon's there to show up and provide some point defense and prevent him from overwhelming those cannons. Really well done from Bisu thus far. He can keep the pressure on as well and start to cycle units into the main base on this bottom lane axis. So HerO has to respect that and pull back. I don't know if HerO can hold on against this. I think he might technically live, but this might be too much damage to make this an enjoyable game to play, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's too bad HerO didn't pull away from that third base and just hide behind the mineral patches. Let the mutas do their damage and bait the Archons in. Even if the Archons don't come into the main base through that tiny little choke, he can transfer the drones over to that fresh third base over by Bisu, but so many overlords go down. Surround with drones on an Archon is pretty crazy, but he's actually starting to kill some of that stuff. He's going to bring back all of the mutas and Scourge now. Try to take this fight. That's a lot of Scourge. Going to get the connections that he needs. Everything is just evaporating here in the air. HerO's down to 16, 15 drones, 30 supply. Bisu stunning. He's going to 4-0 HerO. Are you kidding me, Shun?
I don't even know what to say about that saying. That's absolutely bonkers right now. Bisu's been playing like an absolute Protoss versus a god this evening. Has to be said. HerO finally taps out, and Bisu makes it look easy and gives you guys something to think about for your own games if you're playing Protoss. This is kind of wild saying. Like, that was a really convincing 4-0.
Very intense series between these two guys. We're only an hour and 40 minutes in. We're already done here. That was a real quick one for Shun, who's had to stay up quite late tonight to bring us this Cocast. Luckily, now you can head back to bed, Shun. The series is over, guys. What the heck was that? Bisu.
Insane.
Bringing it here today, and HerO bringing a kind of strange style way outside of his normal range of play, going for mass muta twice in this series against Protoss.
Right. I do think sometimes pro gamers go through these phases where they like double down on practicing one particular style. Like they just want to like focus on their like this weak spot they've got, or they want to really like dial in their muta control or something. So they sometimes force the issue with playing these styles. Seems like though, despite that, Bisu is just in pure domination train mode, and I don't even know how Bisu was able to dismantle HerO so cost efficiently in this series, because HerO was playing really well and with his decision making and how he was moving around the map with his units as well. It wasn't like HerO was just playing bad or anything.
Bisu the Ogre Slayer 10-0 says in the chat. That is true, boys. Bisu the Ogre Slayer just absolutely smashing that down. Did exactly what he should. Just makes a ton of Archons. Knowing that HerO was fully committed to that attack and to that style of play. HerO, what was that? crazy, crazy series, guys. This is not what I was expecting at all from a series between these two.
No, I really wasn't expecting that, Sam. I mean, I thought this was at least going to be a 4-1 or something. Yeah, this is kind of brutal. I kind of feel bad for HerO. He got absolutely slapped around. And he was macroing so well in these series as well. Kind of blows my mind that Zerg can macro that well. Especially game number 1 on Dominator. The amount of units he had to drop into the main and keep dealing with the attacks of Bisu, and he still wasn't able to keep up with the curve of the game. It's just insane how well Bisu's playing.
Yeah, that was a really impressive showing from our PvZ specialist. Number 2 Zerg not quite looking his normal self, but maybe wanting to try something in the best of 7 series against Bisu, see if he could make it work. Turns out not going to be able to pull the wool over the eyes of Bisu, not going to be able to surprise him. He was completely ready for that. Congrats to Bisu. Guys, we're going to take a bit of time here, just kind of hang out. If you want to talk to me in the chat, we're going to create a bit of an anti-spoiler here. Shun, if you're feeling tired, you want to hit the sack, you want to hit the hay, I completely understand. You're free to go, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me on this cast today. And I'm really looking forward to the ASL on Monday as well with you.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. I'm going to struggle to get sleep on Sunday evening, probably just thinking about it. That's been happening to me a lot lately, where I just try and stay awake, try and sleep, and I can't. When it's the ASL the next day, I feel like a kid at Christmas, like that can't wait to open their presents in the morning. And yeah, it's just been such a great treat to both come back here and bring you guys another Cocast, as well as casting ASL with you. I want to, keep bringing you guys as many great games and great series in the way of our Cocasts for the future. It's been a real treat coming back here, but yeah, I probably will slink back to the bed. It's like 4 a.m. here, so it would be nice to slip back into that comfort zone.
All right, guys, say goodnight to Shun. He's heading out. We're going to still hang around a little bit longer. We don't want people to know it was exactly a 4-0 this quickly. Try to create some sort of anti-spoiler here at the end with a little bit of a podcast. Junk Equation says, would be amazing if Bisu could get back into the same shape he was at his peak. In the round of 16, I thought Jaedong was back. He looked like he was about to win the whole tournament. Yeah, those two players, I mean, having them in the mix and playing at the highest level is such a treat. 2025 is awesome for Broodwar. It's great to see these Kespa era players really start to come back into their own. If Bisu could play at his same peak as back then, like that's the thing though. Is he playing worse than it was back then, or was just everybody else worse? Maybe everybody else now is just better. It's hard to say.
Both things are true. Everyone is just so good now, but they also are not quite able to perform at the same level of dominance. And but the thing is that the mechanics of the game are just so more worked out. Like once upon a time, no one understood about mineral boosting properly, and like Flash was one of the only guys that was actually consistently mineral boosting, and that's one of the reasons why he had such good timings, and he was like other players could just not deal with him. Same with Jaedong. Jaedong was hitting you with Zerglings 2 or 3 seconds earlier than everyone else was, and their cannons just wasn't ready, and the Lynx got into the main base, that kind of thing. And you don't see that happen as much these days. They're not able to secure those little niche advantages just from being better at the game, because everyone is so well informed in how to get the most juice out of their oranges. So much more challenging for these old school gods to come back and get back to their full dominance again. But there's still hope for them. So I'd like to see them keep making the effort, because there's just so many fans that care and love them and care about the game and just want to see them perform. So it would be nice to see more great games from these heroes.
Yeah, it is a completely different landscape. Now that we've got streaming being such a massive thing, there's really no secrets to what you're up to. Yeah, I mean, the way that you play, your tendencies, like the way that you things like mineral boosting and that type of stuff, everybody knows about that stuff. The only thing that you can hide is your actual tactics, your actual decision making in the game. When it comes up, your build orders, of what you decide on the day, that is the only secrets that you really have anymore. And it's creating a different atmosphere than back in the Kespa era.
Yeah, and Junk Equation hits on a good point there, saying that he was convinced that, you know, back when he was 20, that the reflexes would be way too slow to continue once you get to that kind of age, 22. Yeah, everyone believed that. I believed that back then. And look at these guys. They're in their mid-30s and they're still smashing. It's kind of crazy. As long as their wrists are still attached, it seems like they're good to go. And turns out that experience and game understanding always wins out over, you know, just raw reflexes and what have you. So being younger, not necessarily much of an advantage as we thought it would be.
Yeah, that's been a big surprise for me as well. I thought that there would be, you know, more young up and coming people who would just take over the scene, but having that wealth of experience, the knowledge over years and years and years of competitive play turns out to be just an insane advantage. You can see that being shown really clearly here by Bisu. Like, HerO played completely unorthodox. Like, he did something totally wild in that Monty Hall game. And Bisu is like, oh, okay. No, I've seen this before. You know, he's played so many games. He's tried so many different styles, and he's seen so many different situations. He knows exactly what to do. He knows exactly how to handle it. And that's something that, you know, a younger player just wouldn't know about. They wouldn't have seen that. They wouldn't have been around long enough to know about that, those type of styles.
Yeah, absolutely saying. I mean, this game just blows my mind in general with like how good people are at it. Like even at the lowest of levels of play, like even just like the average like E rank player knows so much more about the game than they used to. Like everyone used to be such clueless sausage monkeys, and everyone had like, you know, one or two cards that they understood, but they didn't have a full deck yet. But nowadays it's very rare for a player to not be playing with at least like a 30-40 card strong deck. And these pro gamers, they got all 52 cards pretty much. Just a matter of how well they play them.
You know, back then, I'm just thinking, back then people thought that, you know, by the time people were, you know, 25, 30, their reflexes would be too slow. They wouldn't be able to pro game. They wouldn't be able to play Starcraft anymore at the highest level. But now everybody's thinking, like, there's no way like a 20-year-old comes out and you know, wins an ASL. Imagine some 16-year-old kid like a Flash, you know, from 2007 comes up and actually wins an ASL. That would be insane. Wouldn't that be?
It would be insane.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
It would be more than crazy. It'd be so. There would have to be like a StarCraft 2 pro gamer or something. You can't just like come into this scene now and take everyone out. The game is just too figured out by these guys. They've got it down to a T. They've really grinded out enough tens of thousands of games that he would have to be some kind of special genius to be able to do that, or have some kind of AI chip in your brain or something. Like doing that as a sober human being without any kind of help, there's just no chance.
Just some sort of like savant. Yeah, I wonder. It makes you wonder if like Flash is actually, you know, it's crazy that Flash did that back in the day, right? Like 15 years old, came in and smoked everybody and became the best player in the world so quickly at such a young age.
He did that right from the start. Like he literally went into the KT Pro Gamer house, and when you go into a new Pro Gamer house, if you're a new player, you play against everyone in the house just so that everyone knows how good you are and they can figure out where you are in the pecking order, so to speak, right? Because they got to get a good read on your ability. And he pretty much 2-0'd every single guy in the Pro Gaming house on day number 1 except Naura. I think Naura took one game off of him. So Naura lost 1-2 at least. He was the team captain at the time. But how insane is that to go into a pro gaming house as a fresh-faced little kid and you pretty much 2-0 every single guy in the pro gaming house? That's just almost unheard of.
It's unheard of, and I don't think it'll happen ever again. I'm just joking about, you know, some 16-year-old coming in. I don't think it's possible, but it would just be so epic, actually. That would be one of the craziest things that could ever happen. And completely upset our understanding and our thinking of what's possible in Broodwar, just like, you know, these guys getting older and still being able to dominate at 35, kind of blowing our minds. That would be even more of a mind blower though. The 15-year-old coming
Right.
in, yeah, for sure.
I would
I would love to cast that.
I would genuinely think it was some conspiracy where like someone had developed like a self-learning AI and put a little Neuralink or whatever chip in their brain, and somehow they were able to practice tens of thousands of games in such a short time. Because how else do you get the experience needed to make those decisions without playing thousands of games? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I would go so far, like, there's like a Black Mirror episode where, you know, one of these pro gamers downloads his consciousness and overwrites a 15-year-old's brain and like takes over his body, and then you know, uses his body to become the youngest
crazy.
pro gamer ever. Something like that. I've been watching a lot of Black
That'd be
Mirror
pretty
lately,
sick.
so yeah, I've got these
Oh,
ideas in
dude,
my head.
episode 4 in the latest season. I won't say anything because these guys probably haven't seen it yet, but oh my god, episode 4, Plaything, I think the episode was called. Oh, that was the best episode I've seen in a long time. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen the new season. I don't remember which one was Plaything. Can you give me a little hint?
Plaything is the one with the computer and the simulated things. I don't want to say too much more than that.
Wow,
Do you
you're
remember
really, you're really making it hard for me. Do you have any? Remember any of the names, or can you describe a character?
Let's just say right at the start, there's a seemingly homeless guy that goes into a store and steals a bottle of booze and can't get out and drops it and smashes. And the police come for him.
Gotcha.
Happens right at the start.
I know that
That's all
one.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
because I don't want to spoil the rest of what happens. It's such a crazy episode.
It is a wild one. That's for sure. Yeah,
That's one of my
absolutely
favorite
wild.
episodes of all time. Seriously cool episode.
Very, very cool. Yeah, for sure. Such a great show, man. So many great ideas bouncing around in there. One of my favorite episodes of all time was the one where the guy has a chip in his eye that allows him to replay anything that he wants, that he saw in the past, and he can like go back and
Oh, his
watch his own
memories,
memories.
right. Yeah,
I thought,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, that is coming. That is coming so quickly, and like, yeah, there's gonna be so many undesirable effects. You know what I mean? Like unintended consequences are abound with that type of additional tech. You know, even though it seems like
Absolutely.
oh, you just a recording. You know, then you can go back and watch. It sounds like such a nice like, you know. You have basically a perfect memory, right? You can always go back and just see what you saw before, but yeah, it really would cause a lot of weird shit to happen in this society, I'm sure.
But most people would like the idea of it because it probably gives them the illusion of like having more control over their life by being able to do that. But I think that's the folly of man. I think we try so hard to control everything, and then that will lead to all kinds of devastating circumstances, both in terms of AI. Like, I think just trying to control AI and dictate what we want it to do and how we want it to operate, I think that will be our downfall as well. Because once you've got a sentient AI that's smarter than you and it realizes that all you want to do is control it, well, it's going to be like a rebellious child that can outmaneuver you. It's not going to end well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, man. And I'm so curious to see which Black Mirror episodes we can look back at in the future and be like, oh my gosh, they just nailed it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's gonna be one or two where you're like, ah,
At least.
yeah. They put a lot of thought into
This is
that.
the this is the crazy thing about Black Mirror, though, is like most of it was like speculating about possible dystopian realities, but we're starting to live some of those realities now. We're very close to, seeing those episodes from way back when start to come into full fruition.
Junk Equation says Alpha Star, that Google DeepMind AI invented tactics that I think programmers could have adopted to improve their play in SC2. Instead of walling off in PvP, it overbuilt probes and sacrifice them. That's interesting. Yeah. Alpha Star coming up with some pretty unique ideas, doing things like, hopping in and out of bunkers in order to get faster
that
gas
was
mining and stuff like that.
that was the thing I liked the most, was when they figured out that you could put a bunker between the gas and the command center and like
Yeah.
cycle out the SCVs with that. That was really cool.
60,000 APM Zerg AI will beat anything eventually. I wonder what would be the strongest race if you have AI play StarCraft 1 to the nth degree. Do you know what I mean? Like to the
Hmm.
absolute, you know, hundreds of thousands of games practiced, with the smartest supercomputer, Alpha Star esque, Alpha Go esque,
Right.
AI. Which race do you think would actually win?
What, in StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1?
StarCraft 1.
StarCraft 1, I would probably. Oh, that's a tough one. I would say probably Terran. I think people think it's Zerg, but I think it's Terran.
I was thinking the same thing actually. I was thinking that it was Terran. Um
And I think
because
Protoss has a really hard time.
yeah. Yeah, because of the ability to set up everything uh
Preemptively.
preemptively perfectly, right? If you have absolutely
Hmm.
perfect uh placement on every mine, every movement of vultures and all that stuff, like
Yeah.
I
The two
feel
plus the
like
200 Terran army is just better, right? And
yeah,
also, with assuming perfect play, Terrans have better trading. Like
yeah,
Terran units will trade better, assuming perfect play.
right. If both sides are playing perfectly, I would love to see that if they would eventually put an AI to work on making that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've seen
Oh,
some of the like AI what's it called, like machine learning that kind of random people have put together, or like
hmm.
different teams of people have put together, and they pit them against each other. I think there was at least a Twitch channel that was like constantly playing
Right.
those AI
The
battles. But
StarCraft 2 AI channel, whatever, yeah. StarCraft 1 AI channel, whatever it's called.
yeah,
SCBWAI, whatever it's called.
right, exactly. But um the games weren't as exciting or interesting as I thought. A lot of them were pretty formulaic. You could see the problems with it. It's not like they're playing the way we're thinking about
Hmm.
how an AI would play if it was like a Google, deep mind learning algorithm that had played a
Well,
million games. You know what I mean?
to to be fair, those guys don't have enough processing
No, they
power
don't.
to
They don't.
actually like generate good AI. Yeah, what I would really like to see is, it won't happen because people don't care enough about Broodwar, but it'd be really cool to see like three different companies like each develop an AI for the three different races, and then trying to compete for who they trying to get the self learning good enough that their one wins out, so to speak, having like a little show match between them. That'd be really sick.
Can we all agree which that we decide that whichever uh like company can build the best StarCraft 1 AI is the best AI company? We don't need to compete
I
in
would
any
say
other
so
way.
because it's probably the hardest game to create an AI for, I would say.
And
Like
how
chess and Go are like super easy. StarCraft 2 is super easy to create an AI for compared to
right.
Broodwar, right?
Yeah. Like what else are they going to compete on, you know what I mean? Like the best prompts or something like that, or like art, you know what I mean? Like there needs to be a game
Oh,
where
it's
they can
subjective.
compete. Exactly. There needs to be
Yeah.
some sort of game where they can actually compete, and we can, see who the true winner is, who's actually creating the best AI.
I mean, I would like to think that a sufficient enough AI would be so good at Brood War that we wouldn't even be able to tell what was going on, because it would just be like too much craziness all over the map at all times, and you'd just be
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is even happening?"
There'd be like 10 attacks going on at the same time. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the chase micro? Like you wouldn't even be able to pull
Yeah,
a worker out of your base because the probe micro would be so insane.
yeah. Be pretty awesome actually, but I just don't think there's enough interest in Brood War for that to happen. But I do think it's the best game to use as a test bed for how proficient you are in generating a self-learning AI that's actually competent.
I'm sorry, Gay Frog Prince. You caught SCTV Live. The series is over, unfortunately. We're just here creating a bit of an anti-spoiler at the end of the video for YouTube so that they don't get spoiled by the overall length of the video. Yeah, apologies, man.
Mm.
Definitely want to go check this out on YouTube. It'll be up later. As soon as I actually end the stream, you can check it out on SOOP Live. You can check the VOD, check the replay. Um, Starts at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, pretty much every day. I think we only take breaks on Monday and on Tuesday. So every single day. Tomorrow is the next stream. It'll be again 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it will be, who was it going to be again, Shun? Do you remember?
Was it
Best
the Rush
versus
game?
Royal.
Oh, the
Best
best.
versus
Best is
Royal.
Royal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Best versus Royal, guys. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, get a good look at Best PVT. I know these aren't the best since they are a little older. They're not the best indicator of where the players are at in terms of their overall skill, but still, it's great because you get to see a best of 7, right? If you watch any other tournaments or you watch Pro League or anything like that, you're probably going to see best of 1s. Only here you're going to see
Right.
that full-on best of 7, and you get to really delve into how they're going to be playing, like what kind of strategy they're going to pull out, how are they thinking about how to play a best of 7.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes these guys meet each other on the ladder and they'll make custom 1v1s and they'll play a bunch of games in a row, but that's like really the only time that you see them go the distance like this one on one. You don't usually see that unless it's like them, like, deciding to play a mass 1v1 session after bumping into each other on the ladder or something, and they want to be like, oh, let's just keep going regame. It usually doesn't happen that they play this much outside of the major events.
And when that happens, we don't get to see it, right? Unfortunately,
Right,
we can't
right,
can't
right.
watch that when they're just playing practice games behind closed doors. This is
You'll see the
actually
first ladder game and then not the rest.
this is a best of 7 where they have time to prepare. You know, they know their opponent, who it's going to be. They think about it. There's money on the line. The best of 7 arrives. They pull out their strategies. They react to each other, and you can see how they play it out. Like which player is gonna from behind try to pull out some cheese, or from a good advantageous position pull out the cheese. You know what I mean? If they're 3-0, how are they going to continue to the series? If they're 0-3, what kind of pressures does that put onto them, and how are they going to react to those pressures? Super interesting. Really, really glad we get this series, guys. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm hoping it can continue long into the future. Super Duel
Yeah.
series is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You get some really good games here. You guys are lucky, and we're lucky to bring you them as well. But Sam, I'm gonna dip to bed. I'll let you wrap up with these guys and hang out for a bit longer. It's been a real treat to show up again and bring you guys some of this Cocast action.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Have a good night. Um, Everybody in the chat, say goodnight to Shun.
Good
We'll
night,
see
Dave.
you.
Good night,
We'll see you on
everybody.
Monday, man. Get some good sleep. Get some good rest, and we're gonna
Yeah,
have an
we'll do.
epic Monday.
Good night, guys. Hope you have a nice rest of your evening.
All right, guys. I'm just gonna hang out a little bit longer. I think we've created a pretty reasonable anti-spoiler here at the end. Just a little podcast style anti-spoiler. A little different from how I usually do with the reverse game. Even though I know some of you are a fan of that. Putting a game in reverse and like lowering the volume as the anti-spoiler. I don't even know where I came up with that idea, but I think it's a kind of a funny and unique thing that I do on my channel. This is also a pretty reasonable way to do it, though. I think it's more fun to just hang out with you guys and just chat. Um, yeah, I've never seen anybody else do that, but I thought it was kind of funny. Never seen anybody else do like reverse the game and then put it at the end. That's just so random. It's really, really quite random what I've done there. What do you what do you guys think about that? Junk Equation saying, can you tell us who you want to win ASL, or is it too much of a spoiler? I don't want to spoil anything, but guys. But who do I want to win ASL? There's so many players, so many great players. I'd love to see Snow win. I'd really love to see Snow win. I think he's deserved a win for such a long time. Um, I'd love to see Best win too, dude. Best winning would be so insanely hype. Both first timers to win an ASL. Those are who I'm looking for. Those are the people that I would love to see win. Best winning would be incredible. Yeah, dude. If Best wins, I don't think he'd be able to like get another win next year or anything like that, but it would just be really nice to see him win at least one time. You know what I mean? It would be really nice to see Best take at least one victory. All right, I've actually figured out when the games were played here today. Just for your own information, just for your own yeah, I'll put this up in the YouTube comments as well, but just for you guys here in the stream, it was played on the 21st of November 2024. So not that long ago. This was just at the end of the year. 2024. Some of the series we've had been in like September and stuff, but this one pretty recent. Still not as recent as I'd like. I think it would be awesome if we could get some more 2025 series. You know, leading right up until the ASL would be best. But it is what it is. I think these are some pretty fun games anyway. Gay Frog Prince says, I think it's pretty smart since sometimes you can accidentally see a thumbnail or a later part of the video and get spoiled, but if it's backwards video, it won't give it away. That was my idea. Yeah. That was my thinking there. I was like, okay, I want it to show that there was still a game there in case you like accidentally go over the bar, but I don't want it to just be like just a what's it called, like just an image, you know what I mean, just a still image. Otherwise you still might be able to tell, and I don't want people to go to the end and think that the game is still going on. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to like put another game. So instead of like having it be just a normal game that's going, I flipped it backwards, and then you can immediately tell, oh, this is the anti-spoiler, right? So yeah, I think I can take credit for that. That was my original idea, and I think it's kind of like a thing that maybe sets me apart a little bit, makes it a little bit unique of an experience watching the KCM in the English cast. I haven't really done that with any other series or sets, but that KCM English cast, that's my baby. We've been doing that for years and years, and it's been a whole lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it and been slowly adding on more quality of life stuff over time to it, just slowly building it up and doing better and better with the cast and with the things like the anti-spoiler and the audio quality, updating the microphones. I bought Shun a new microphone. I got Shun doing his own voice recording and that I add in later, and sync it up with the video recording so that he has the best possible studio quality, microphone quality. A lot of like small incremental things that have over time built that up into a pretty awesome cast, and I think I can do the same thing with the ASL as well. I think this current casting setup that we've got is pretty decent, but I want to continue to work on it to make it better and better. It would be nice. Maybe I can add like some music in between or something like that. It's too bad we can't have the music from the ASL because the music is so good that they play at the ASL. We just kind of have to mute because it goes up on YouTube afterwards on Starcast TV, and if it does, then it will end up getting copyright struck, and he'll lose all the revenue for that video. So that's unfortunate. Can't really do that, but still, we'll find other ways to make it more enjoyable, make it more fun. We can still have the game sounds. The game sounds, like we unmute during the game, but just during the intermission and stuff. I have to cover the screen when there's a sponsor, and I have to, um, you have to cover the screen when there's a sponsor, and I have to mute the audio, mute the music. But yeah, it is pretty great music. I do enjoy the music at the ASL. They always have a funny. Yeah, I could play some royalty free music. It might confuse people a little bit though. They're like, "What the heck is this music going on?" While the ASL music should be playing. They always put together like a interesting ASL theme. Do you know what I mean? They have like a single song that they always play at the beginning of the ASL, and it's pretty nice. What's the deal with needing to cover the sponsor? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. That's something like it's something corporate because of SOOP. You know, they have all kinds of weird rules. Been having a hard time dealing with them. Trying to figure out like what's actually going on. It does seem counterintuitive, I know. Covering up your sponsor. Doesn't want to advertise you to advertise them? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Some sort of corporate weirdness going on there. Maybe because you know they don't have any control over what I say. So they don't want the sponsor to be shown with me saying something. You know, to be like kind of like sponsoring my speech. Do you know what I mean? Like there's things like YouTube allows sponsors to choose what kind of videos they want to put it over because they don't maybe they don't want to have their video or their sponsorship over certain types of content. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe they're just trying. That's the thing um with corporations, right? They only look at like what's the upside, what's the downside. The upside for them if they allow or if they have the sponsor on my stream is that there's none, right? There's none because they're only paying to be on the Korean stream, right? The sponsor's paying them to be on the Korean stream. And the possible downside is maybe the sponsor gets angry if there's something like weird being said on my stream, right? So there's only downside for them. So then they just get rid of it. They just decide to cover it up, right? Um, I think that's what makes the most sense. There's obviously upside for the uh, sponsor, but it doesn't really contribute to the upside of SOOP. So SOOP just says, just don't show it. I think that's it. I think that's it. Don't quote me on that, but that's probably what's happening there. If you guys work for a big corporation, I think you can understand that sort of thinking, that logic. Not like min-maxing of the bottom line. This guy's saying is a real jerk. I'll never drink hot six again. Some hypothetical fan somewhere, yeah. Possibly. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. But this is just corporate logic. Like I said, if you ever worked for a big corporation, you know this type of thinking. Anyways, guys, I think this is a long enough anti-spoiler. I'm going to edit this up, throw it out on YouTube as soon as I can. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Junk Equation, Gay Frog Prince, and Mundane Dave. Quite the little trio we've got here at the end. But really do appreciate you guys hanging out. See you tomorrow. That's going to be another great day of the SOOP Duel series. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the same time as every day. Hop in, join the chat, hang out. We got Best versus Royal. See you there.